right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Channel 135 podcast, the show we talk about our favorite things in life, movies, TV shows, and pop culture. My name's Cams, and I'm here with the Usos. I've got Bob, all the way from the 135 Footy Show. What's up, Uso?
As boys, good to have a change of pace
Yeah,
and talk about something other than league.
Nah, man, you guys doing a good job over there, man. You can come here and do a good job over here. Looking forward to it, brother. Looking forward
Sweet,
to it.
bro.
And straight out of Ranui, I got the regular Uso over here. Eric, what's up, bro?
What's up, man?
Back again.
Yeah. Seconds after the other one.
Yeah. It's been full on. I suppose we'll have to pay you overtime now. We're here to talk about Star Wars Andor Season 2, Episodes 7, 8, and 9. Man, I'm liking these weekly 3 episodes in a row, eh? I think it suits the pace, and especially the pace of these Andor series, eh? Because they're quite slow paced. Like when I think of Season 1, it was quite a slow burn. And they did it one after the other every week, so they had 12 weeks of one episode. But I think what they're doing now with the 3 episodes a week is, I think it suits how they're telling the story for each episode. So yeah, I think it's 3 episodes for a year. I think 1 year out of the timeline. Just want to get you guys' thoughts on how you guys are finding how we are watching season 2 and the three episodes every week.
Yeah, no, I like it. Like you said, it's a very slow pacing program. Because I remember season 1, and it was like, every week you watch the episode, and that's when you think it was about to get good. Then you have to wait next week, and then they drag it out even more. So you have to wait, and then roughly right about the 3rd week, then you get, oh yeah, I got it, and then it drags on again. So with them putting the in these chapter 3-part series in that, you kind of get the whole what they're trying to say in those 3 episodes. So I think I enjoy it better this way, just because the way the show was. Because there's a lot of moving pieces. It's a lot more mature show, from the original kiddie type Star Wars. So there's a lot more stuff to soak up. And I think with those 3 episodes in order, you don't have to wait next week for what's going on. You have enough to digest until the next week comes over. Because what I'm noticing now, once I've finished digesting what's happened with the 3 episodes that I get, by the time the next 3 episodes I come to watch, it's like, oh shit, it was like yesterday. I just finished watching the last 3 episodes yesterday. Now the next 3 episodes are here today. So it's like, yeah, no, I think they've done it right with this kind of type of show. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's almost like the it's not like the Netflix sort of model way when they put the whole season on 12 episodes all at one time.
Oh,
so you kind of binge without binging sort of thing. But
yeah,
no, I'm enjoying it too.
I think the time skips help enable you to absorb the story a bit more. It also allows them to give you the idea that there's all of the stuff that's crammed into the background that you haven't seen, but it's progressed the story now a year on. So it's like, even though it's a slow burn, heaps of stuff's happened since the last set of 3 episodes. So, you get to this next 3 and it's like, oh, shucks, it's another year. Man, it's getting closer and closer to the Yavin battle now. So it's like slow burn, but the time skips are really helping to allow you to understand that even though the story seems a little bit disjointed because they're jumping from a lot of chapters that happened here, and now the rebellion's here now. It was the beginnings of the rebellion, then it's like, oh yeah, now more people are trying to sort of come on board. Now we're right before the launch of this is the rebellion now. But the time skips I think are really cool.
Yeah. Especially when the 3 episodes are within that time too. And then next week will be another year ahead. I guess for me, it took me maybe 2 weeks to get used to it because I sometimes forget it's a year ahead. I think, what's going on there in another place? And then I sort of have to remember, oh yeah, no, it's been a year. So it's kind of like have to backtrack. But now, for me, Andor's been a revelation, eh? Like, Andor for me has been awesome, eh? And season 1 was weird because it was a slow burn. It was a good story and a lot was happening, but for me, it was not fast enough. And I kind of felt that was a flaw, but I did appreciate the storytelling and the world of. It was kind of like Star Wars without any spiritual stuff, any magical stuff. There was no Sith, there was no Jedi. It was just humans, humans trying to sort it out. Yeah, I find that Andor, it is well written, and it hits real different to any other Star Wars stuff that we have. If season 1 was like a set the table for season 2, and yeah, it's interesting that it took like all of season 1 to get us where we're at. But in terms of the impact Andor has on you guys, I'll start with you first, Bob. The impact of Andor for you and where it sits in your mountain of Star Wars content.
I think Andor's right up there, eh? Rogue One came out at a time when there was a lot of flack for those sequel movies, like Force Awakens, and that whole trilogy was getting all this flack. And then after Rogue One came out, you kind of knew what the story was about, and then it was such an action-packed, super cool movie to watch. And I've heard you guys talk about how it was ground, earth level sort of battles in the Pacific type.
Yeah.
It was real relatable to us here in New Zealand. But Rogue One set a really high bar, and then I thought, oh man, if they're able to do this with Star Wars stories, surely the next lot of movies are going to be really awesome. Then Han Solo came out, and that movie was Gaia. Like, I was super disappointed the way they did that Solo movie. But when they announced that Andor was going to be the spin-off, I was like, wow, it's a prequel. Okay, they've got a lot of story to fit in, and for it to be believable, they got to film all of the stuff real quick so that the actors don't age out and look way older than they're supposed to be before Rogue One movie.
To that.
But it's right up there, man. Like, the story is awesome. Yes, it's a bit more adult, but it's way more relatable in terms of it's like it's got nothing to do with the mystical Jedi stuff, the out of there fantastical stuff. This is like politics happening in today's world. There's a lot of relatable stuff that's happening in our world today that Andor kind of reflects. Especially with the politics stuff, especially for that crap that's going on in America and around the world. And then you see that it's like, man, these storytellers are boko because they're able to bring in elements that's happening in the real world, put it into their story, the conflicts between different races, different, factions, the Empire against everyone else. It's a story that was there already in the original trilogy. You kind of sort of knew, and you had that. It's kind of like, I know this isn't Star Wars, but it's like Star Trek. They've got this cartoon that's called Below Decks, and it's like it just follows these crewmen around what's happening underneath in the lower decks that no one knows about. All you see is the top up the top and where the captain sits and all the crew that but nobody knows what's happening. All you hear is, oh yeah, we got blasted, that section blew out and these people died. That's the extent that you sort of hear in terms of them expanding into the story that involves people outside of in the top of their but yeah. So similar with Andor, you've got really relatable characters, and now you start to see all of the stuff that was happening even through the Star Wars original trilogy and then through Phantom Menace, all of that stuff. These are now the details that they're starting to fill into the Star Wars universe that you never sort of knew. everyone sort of had an idea. They tried to fill it up with Rebels and all the different cartoons and animated series that sort of come up. But like Eric was saying, this is not a kid's story. Yeah, this is a real adult story now, and it's way more relatable because of the great storytelling, great acting. It is a bit of a slow burn, but man, it's so watchable because of the formula. They've got that formula right. Like once a week in season 1, probably not right. 3 episodes a week, man, that's probably more than enough because you feel like, oh yeah, now I'm full. I know I just binge watched those 3 episodes, but it's all right. It's not like last first season, man, 1 episode a week. That's not the model, man. But yeah, Andor is super relatable, and for me, it's right up there, like in terms of the Star Wars series, the TV series that they're watching. That's probably the best one that they've released so far. Skeleton Crew's got a lot of potential, but it's Andor at the moment for me, bro.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat. Like I see, it's up because I'm a big Games of Thrones fan, and these two shows are kind of similar in that way. And I think it's because I'm older now, and I'm looking for more shows like that. And I think it was perfect timing for me for Andor, because even though I'm a big fan of Star Wars, and this happens to be a Star Wars movie, and it's just like Games of Thrones in a way, so it's like the best of both worlds for me. So yeah, it's right up there, but like you, Oz Camps, Empire Strikes Back is still number 1. But yeah, I love this TV show. It's so good, and this season's even better, especially the way they've laid it out, like how we're saying with the 3 episodes. It's a lot more easier to digest for me. Well, for me it is. I don't know about anybody else, but yeah, I'm digging it. I'm really digging it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's the best Star Wars TV show. Of all the TV shows they've got, including the cartoon ones,
Yeah,
and all the other stuff they have, it's the best TV show one. As far as the movies goes, yeah, they've been a bit slack with what's happening. I think they haven't had a movie since ages now. I think Han Solo was the last one.
They need to really look back at it.
Yeah,
I reckon the best. Like I even forgot about Rogue One for a bit, but now when also mentioned it, I was like, damn, that was a good movie. That was a good movie.
I think you touched on something about the writing in Andor, because if it's sort of like if you're a kid, you were watching the original Star Wars, and you have all these questions in your head, like, man, how did the rebellion start, or how did this start, or they've sort of written all those questions into Andor, and it's probably taken because I thought, yeah, season 2 is much better than season 1, but I think that's because season 1 has a lot of table setting. There's a lot of the story needs to be told in the background, the development of Cassian from the start to what he is now, like how the rebellion sort of begins when there's no one out there, just the 2 politicians trying to make their way to try to figure out how to start some sort of rebellion. So we get it from the actual start, and the whole of season 1 was about setting up for season 2, I think. And now that season 2 is here, we can get down to the nitty gritty and all the actions happening and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate season 1 for that, but for me, it's been season 2. But yeah, man, Andor, man, great writing, and it's just it's dense. Like the politics in it, everything, all the story, every character is thought out, and there's nothing random. Everything makes sense. Like if you look in season 1 and these character arcs and what they go through, you might think it's a waste of time, but it's not. It connects to season 2, like especially with the relationship between Cassian and Bix, like their relationship and where they are now. We'll talk about it when we get to the spoilers, but it's sort of come to an head now, and you won't get that emotional relationship with these characters unless you have the backing of all of season 1. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm happy for season 2, and I'm happy for what I'm seeing. Just puts in perspective how big the Star Wars universe is in terms of like where they can go with storytelling, what aspects of that of that galaxy they can look into, tell new stories or old stories, prequel stories. And it's sort of like we know what's going to happen to a lot of these characters, right? We know that Cassian dies in Rogue One. We know Mothma's going to survive and she's in Star Wars. We know, we know a lot of these characters are going to still be alive, but we're still intrigued. We still watch it because we want to know what goes on. And I think that's that's a sign of a good show, that, we're still engaged and still curious about these characters, that we've grown off over the last 2 years since season 1.
Yeah,
it's a formula that they're just rehashing, because like Phantom Menace, you get to the end fight, Obi-Wan Kenobi's gonna make it because he's in the other movies further on down the line. And so even when Qui-Gon gets killed, it's like, well, sorry, that guy killed Obi-Wan's master. This guy's the man. But oh my gosh, what mantis thing does Obi-Wan do to get past this guy? Because I know he survives and gets killed by Vader later on. And, so even though you know what's coming, the expectation of the storytelling and, the universe building that's happening at the moment, it's really awesome. And man, credit to these guys. Like, they must have grown up having those exact same questions that you just asked Cam about. How did the Rebel Alliance start? How did all of these sorts of things? And now they're writing the answers to these questions that we might have had back when we were kids, or looking back when we were a bit older, going And so it's just been really good to watch. And even though you know what's going to happen to Cassian in the end, you're still invested. Like, emotionally, you've still got that engagement in all of these characters, and all of these characters that were probably just blips of characters in the main canon movies, but now they've been given all of this like rich story behind them. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, yeah, man, it's been good. Let's get into some spoilers. So, for those of you listening, if you haven't seen these episodes 7, 8, and 9, I suggest you stop this podcast and go watch it and come back, and we'll break it down for you guys. So we're gonna do the WesWes Network recap. 1 year later, the rebels have begun coordinating military operations on Yavin 4, where Cassian and Bix now live. Wilmon tells them that Deidre is on Ghorman, whose rebel activities have been portrayed by state-sponsored media as terrorist campaigns instigated by outside agitators, and encourages Cassian to help assassinate her, despite his concerns over the mission being from Luthen. Cassian agrees and travels with Wilmon to Ghorman. Bix is told by a Force healer that Cassian will be vital to the rebellion. On Ghorman, Deidre finds her position temporarily sustained by Captain Cato, sent by the Emperor to oversee the Imperial subjugation of the planet, while Cyril begins to doubt Deidre's explanation of outside agitators given his interactions with the rebels. Cato leads the Ghorman people to protest in the square before instigating a false flag operation as justification for massacring the protesters, in turn justifying the destruction of Ghorman. Horrified, Cyril realizes his role in enabling and forces Deidre to tell him the truth. Amidst the chaos, Cassian prepares to assassinate Deidre, but Cyril runs into Cassian and attempts to kill him. He is shaken when Cassian doesn't recognize him, enabling the Ghorman resistance leader to kill him. The resistance manages to incapacitate the KX security droid with a tank. Cassian brings it back with him while Wilmon stays to find and aid his Ghorman girlfriend, Drina. In the aftermath of the Ghorman massacre, the Empire frames the incident as an insurrection. Mon decides it is time to openly condemn the Emperor and flee to Yavin 4. Bail Organa chooses to stay behind and support her escape. Luthen learns from Young that Organa's team is compromised and assigns Cassian to help her escape. With Organa's help, Mon takes the floor to the Senate to condemn Palpatine and the Empire's manipulation of the truth, and Cassian manages to extract her from the Senate. Mon stays behind to publicly position himself with Yavin's rebels, while Cassian accompanies Drina and an injured Wilmon back to Yavin. Disturbed, Cassian decides to leave the rebellion and start a new life with Bix, but she leaves in the night, telling Cassian that he must stay with the rebellion to help them win. The rebel technicians manage to reprogram the KX droid to serve them. And that was the extra long WesWes recap.
extra long.
Fucking 3 episodes,
Shit.
man. Damn.
Damn.
Right. First thing that sticks out to me with these 3 episodes was, man, how heartbreaking that ending was. You know, when Bix leaves the message for Cassian, says he's gonna leave, she's gonna leave, because she knows that he's the man. He needs to stay. He's the key to the rebellion winning some battles. So she makes a decision to leave him just so he can stay. Right, and it's heartbreaking because we know he's gonna die. Because she says in the video, "Oh, when the war's over and everything's all good, I'll come find you."
Yeah.
But we know that's not gonna happen, and that was the heartbreaker part. I was like, "Damn!" But then I was thinking, you know, on the end of Rogue One, he was kissy with Urso,
Yeah.
Jyn Urso. I was like, "Oh man, this guy." So
Forgot about Bix already. Well,
forgot about Bix already. The moment of death, like.
You kind of see that
Love the one
when
you're with.
he's like running up there. He's looking for at the port at Yavin's where they're doing all the transport and stuff. And then he gets caught. They got the droid working. And he's like, "Oh well, switch it up. Let's go to work." Like he already forgot her. It's like, damn, straight back to work.
Bro, I don't know how powerful those X-droids were, eh?
Fuck,
I see him throwing those guys all over the place. Like he fucked them up, eh? Damn.
That was freaky shit, bro.
Shucks.
You need to rewatch Rogue One.
Bro, did you see all those people? They were like screaming, like running for their lives from those robots. And those robots were just chucking them around like ragdolls.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
So because, you've seen Rogue One and you've seen what K2SO does as one robot when he was like holding that sort of area standing guard and everyone was coming at him and he must have killed like 50 dudes by himself. When I saw when what's his name went into that room, he was like, "Oh yeah, come through here."
Yeah.
And it was like 4 of them or 6 of them just sitting there and they just looked at him like this. I'm like, suddenly if they release those droids out into the crowd. Oh my goodness.
I thought they were gonna use the stormtroopers, but like you said, when you saw those droids in the room, I was like, "Oh my, are you serious? Fire up! They only got guns, man. What the hell?"
Yeah.
And that's where you can appreciate good storytelling because there was lots of foreshadowing of that actually happening when Cassian goes to Ghorman the first time.
Yeah.
When he goes there and in the hotel, the bellhop guys sort of, we don't really talk about it, but this is what happened and why there's a monument there in the middle. Like the spaceship just came in, landed and killed all of these Ghorman people. And I was like, suddenly you could almost sort of tell there's a reason why they set up that sort of history and talk about what happened to these Ghorman people because it's like, man, you kind of already know the backstory that the Empire wants this planet. They're doing it the slow route to begin with, but you know that these guys are super impatient. Man, like the Empire ain't gonna wait for that slow plan to come into action. Like if the Emperor says, "Wait, Kelola, now I want that mineral now." Man, and that's exactly what happened. So that foreshadowing I thought was really cool because then it happened in the episode 8. Man, it was terrible.
Yeah, I had a funny feeling that massacre was coming because that was the only way to get that mineral. If they couldn't get the Ghorman people on board, then tear them apart.
I want to talk about that episode 8 scene, that whole scene, the massacre scene, because man, when the build up to it, I wasn't actually sure what was going to happen. Like, how are they going to do this? Are they going to? When they said it was a trap and they said block or exit, oh fuck, something's going to happen. I think this TIE fighter's going to come in and swoop down and just shoot into that space and kill everyone in there, or what. So I wasn't sure what the plan was. But when it happened, I gotta tell you guys, man, that hit different. All that action, like when you think of other Star Wars stuff, like when you're in a firefight with stormtroopers, I don't felt it was as brutal as what I saw in that episode 8. But this is different. This is like I don't know, like
It was a massacre.
it was like real. It felt real.
Yeah, it was a massacre, bro. It wasn't like they were fighting. They were like they didn't have a fair ground to play on. It wasn't fair. They were set up from the start, and the
Yeah,
father
but I
knew
think
it.
it's the direction, because I think you can
Yeah.
you can either do it like Saving Private Ryan. You know how brutal that was. It was more towards that kind of stuff. Eh?
Yeah.
That's how I felt. Like it was different. That firefight was different to any other firefight I've seen in Star Wars.
Yeah, that
And I
wasn't
think
a
it's
firefight.
even when those rebels in the square were shooting back, and they were getting picked off one by one. You know, and even some of the stormtroopers, like that was awesome when the stormtroopers came down those steps.
Yeah,
you know, and
that was
started-
fuzzy.
I love that kind of stuff, eh? But
Like in the main movies, those are just peripheral characters that, you see a stormtrooper die and it's like, oh, well, all good because he's a
Yeah.
baddie.
Yeah.
And then if you see a rebel guy die and it's like, oh, well, for the cause.
Yes.
He wasn't one of the main guys. And then it wasn't until I'm one with the Force and the Force is with me. I'm going to walk out in the middle of these stormtroopers and push the button and not get hit. And it's like, whoa, man, don't so you feel some sort of connection. But all those other guys that sort of die in amongst Star Wars, they're all peripheral. They're not part of the main sort of storyline. Because we've had these whole episodes where we've learnt about Ghorman, we've learnt about the rebellion trying to start up, these people trying to stand up for themselves. There's this whole emotional investment going on because now it's like, oh shit, Cassian doesn't want to help these guys start something because he knows that they're not ready. And oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Luthen doesn't care. He wants to sacrifice all of these guys for the good of the cause. They'll burn brightly if they burn. But Cassian's like, sorry, that's not me. These guys are going to bring knives to a gunfight. And that's pretty much what it was in the middle of that plaza, bro. They got owned. And that's probably why it was like, suddenly you knew watching all of the Star Wars, every movie that Star Wars is in, that the Empire is bad. This was probably one of the first times where you've actually seen them be really bad, like on a level where it's super relatable. You've seen them blow up planets, and it's like, wow, that was sad. But I haven't really had the time to feel sorry about the planets getting blown up or anyone from those planets that got destroyed by the Death Star. Whereas now, oh my gosh, these Ghormans are like, God of fire. I just saw you in the last 2 episodes, and now these guys getting killed.
Especially with those rebels, those Ghorman rebels. I think being picked off, and they're like, "Oh, damn, she died."
Yeah, and you start like you were saying, Bob, the stories and you learn about these people, and then you see them die, and you're like, "Shit, this is heavy."
Yeah, and the other thing is, what's missing too? There's no Jedi amongst it. There's no lightsaber amongst it, because that's when you're talking about the peripheral, right? Like they're there because we're focusing on the Jedi's fighting amongst the stormtroopers and all that kind of stuff, eh? But this is more intimate. Like these are humans trying to escape, and the stormtroopers are surrounding that. Everyone's like a sitting duck, eh? So it makes it more.
That was super sneaky how they started that whole fight. I was wondering why that dude who was like the captain he was real indifferent when those green ass troops came down, and he was like, "Oh yeah, these guys are just kids." It's like, are we gonna have a problem? Yeah, man, they'll be ready. And then I was thinking, so that guy doesn't give a rat's ass about those green dudes that just got off the ship, and that's why, because they were gonna be fed to the wolves out there, and he had a sniper up the top. At first, I thought, that sniper's going to shoot one of the Ghorman people. But then he shoots the Imperial guy, and then the sergeant turned around. Shots fired.
Yeah.
Kill everyone. I was like, oh, that's all they needed to, like, the spark was there, and it was tinderbox dry, man, and boom. As soon as that guy took out that Imperial ISP guy, man, it was all on. So that was real sneaky, man. I thought.
Yeah.
Did you think they were gonna? So you thought at first they were gonna shoot a Ghorman?
Yeah,
soldier?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I had a funny feeling they were gonna shoot their own, because then they would have made them open fire, like how they did.
That probably speaks to where the Empire is in the galaxy at that time, because the Republic's still there. They still got the Senate. They still got that thing in the where when Mon she does her speech. It's not until they shut that down that they shut the Senate down, and there's no more of that. So Empire has ultimate power over everything. So they don't have to disguise their tactics anymore. Like after Mon makes that speech, that's the Emperor's cue to say, okay, now I'm the Senate now. Like no more Senate, I'm the Senate. So I've got complete control. So they don't have to answer to anyone now. And you realize that in the original Star Wars film, that scene when they're having that meeting and Darth Vader chokes that guy. The first choke scene. That's the meaning. They're talking about how the Emperor has dissolved the Senate.
Yeah.
So it's cool how it all connects. It's all and that's just great writing. Like how they connect everything and they build onto everything like that. But even the fight between Cassian and Cyril, that was a brutal fight too. I never seen a fight like that in Star Wars. Like, they're punishing each other.
Cyril, as soon as Cyril saw Cassian, man, it was man, that guy must have lost his shit.
Man, did he walk? Because I was thinking, this bookworm nerd. And in that minute, he was owning Cassian. I was like, hand to hand, he was getting wasted.
Cyril turned into a beast this season.
I'm not talking about him. Let's talk about him, and through his character arc, because he's dead now. He died in that scene. But to be honest, like for season 1, I did not get what his character was for. I did not understand what he was there for. Like, for him to, I don't know what his arc was, and I think it was just for us to kind of relate to him when he became a scapegoat. He was the guy they sent down to Ghorman to act like he was doing something, but he was really, he didn't know what the Empire was up to. He sort of gets with Deidre. They're in a relationship. Sort of question: is he a bad guy or a good guy? Because he strangles her when he finds out, but he doesn't kill Cassian when he has the chance. He hesitates, and that was his mistake because he hesitated too long and he gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
So what is up with this guy? Is this guy?
No, you know what it was? I think that period was because you know how Cassian didn't recognize him, but he's been after Cassian for ages. It's like, fuck, all this time I've been after this nigga, he doesn't even know who I am.
Is that why he's mad?
It's like, fuck. Probably that's why he just stopped for a second and thought, this fucking son of a bitch.
Because
and then he gets shot in the head.
Because, I question where his heart is at. Is he really a bad guy or is he just influenced by the Empire? Because, he strangles his missus because she tells him the truth. But then he just walks out.
For me, his character was he represented a straight up and down loyal to the Empire citizen, and he believes that everything the Emperor is doing and the whole Empire is right. If you're gonna compare him to like a real world person, this guy's a brainwashed Chinese person that's been, had all of this indoctrinated stuff about. And I'll share the story. I used to work with this Chinese girl, and there was a story that came out about Hong Kong students getting abducted off the streets back when Hong Kong had sort of gone under Chinese rule. And I was going, man, that was pretty sad, eh? Those students were just protesting peacefully. And she was like, well, if they weren't disobedient and they should have just listened to the government, then nothing would have happened to them. They would have been all right. And I was like, so like, can you hear yourself? But that's like how she was indoctrinated with all of that sort of stuff growing up in China, going to school in China, hearing all of this propaganda about the West and everything else. So bring that back to Andor. Cyril is that guy. He's the guy that's been indoctrinated. He's the super loyal to the Emperor, super loyal to the Empire because he believes everything that they're doing is right. And so at the end, for me, it was a sort of double betrayal for him. So he gets betrayed by Deidre and realizes that he's now part of this. He was just this pawn in Deidre's game. But also, he's now been betrayed by his whole ideal of what the Empire meant to him. So he thought the Empire was upstanding. It was putting away bad guys. He was trying to shut down this insurrection from outside influences on Ghorman. That was his whole idea. But that's not what was happening. So he's going around telling the Ghorman people, nah, Solly, there's these outside influences that are going to try and set you guys up. But the whole time, he's been the one spreading all of these false lies to try and appease the Ghorman people. So at the end, when Deirdre betrays him, yes, he's getting betrayed by his missus because of being used and stuff, but it's also the shattering of his whole world, that the Empire isn't as clean and upstanding as what he thought it was. And so you kind of see this descent from being this nerdy, straight up and down guy to this guy who's completely lost his shit. He's now just watching everyone getting killed, and this is really what the Empire's about. In the end, he kind of found out that, yes, this is what the Empire's about. This is what they stand for. And they don't care who it is that they have to kill to get their way, because Deirdre knew way before they got there that they wanted that planet. And it wasn't until he got that information out of her where he was like, suddenly I've been used.
So when he's walking around confused and he's thinking about all that, he's thinking, what the hell am I here for? What was my... And then when he sees Cassian, I think it all just comes down to him, and he just takes it out on him. He said, I don't know anything what's going on, but I know I got to beat up that guy. I got to kill that guy, so I want to do that. So he goes hunting on him, And that's what I mean, man. That fight was brutal, and you can feel Cyril's anger when he's...
Fuck yeah. And then that whole scene where Cassian doesn't even recognize him shows that even though we've time skipped all of this time, Cyril's main purpose throughout season 1 and 2 has just been on, we need to get Cassian Andor. He's the one we need to get. Whereas Cassian's purpose has evolved from all the stuff that happened on Ferrix or whatever that planet was. It's like, sorry, who are you? I don't know who you are, because I'm now part of a super complicated, complex structure of Rebel Alliance people trying to sort shit out. You're still on that same goal that you had way back in season 1 of trying to capture me.
And you still on the same goal, nigga. Shit.
Plus, I think that hesitation comes from he's not a guy to kill people.
No, I don't think so.
That's why he hesitated.
Yeah,
he hesitated too long. His downfall for that is getting shot dead. But you know who kills him? The guy that sort of he betrayed, the leader of the resistance.
So didn't he bang his daughter?
I don't know.
There was a scene with the lady, the daughter to the old man that shot him in the head, and she was walking down the dark alley, and he was trying to meet up. But the way he held her hand, it's like they were a couple or something. I was like, hey, this guy. So I was like, holy shit!
A lot happens in a year.
Yeah, man. These guys, man, they go hard.
Well, you know what? When it was funny because when it was revealed that the old man was the guy that shot him, it reminded me of those karma things in those hood movies. Like I remember on Minister Society when Kane he gets that girl pregnant and beats up the cousin and forgets about it, and at the end, it's the cousin that kills him at the end. So everything goes around, comes around.
Yeah.
So that was that kind of situation.
Worry about the payback.
Yeah. Yeah. Deirdre though, she's loyal to the Empire. Is she a good person? Or is she going with the Empire, or is she the same as Cyril but more like ambitious? She just wants to climb that ladder.
Yeah, because at first she doesn't want to accept the mission, but it's because of, is it the commander?
Well, she doesn't like the idea of the Ghormans getting killed.
Yeah. She has her kind of thing. She wants to focus on her own missions, but unfortunately, that doesn't happen. She ends up taking the mission anyway.
She was sort of left in the dark with the whole trap thing.
Yeah. Well, if she finds out that Cyril's dead, she's definitely going to flip a switch.
Yeah, that's what I reckon. I think Cyril was the thing that was grounding her.
Yeah.
To not completely go to the dark side, but now that he's dead, she might. I don't know, it could be the opposite. She could be eager at the Empire for what they forced him to do on Ghorman and then become a spy for the Rebel. Who knows?
Yeah.
It could go either way, it's hard to tell.
What did you think of, I don't know, I think it was episode 7, that Force healer That was like the first introduction of.
That's what I
They
was telling
didn't. They
this guy.
didn't say the Force. They didn't use the words.
Yeah, they did say today.
Nah. But as
But
soon
you
as
could
I saw her
tell.
doing those, do I know you? Your shoulder has got an injury. I was like, wait,
I thought-
here comes the magic.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna say, "I feel the force in you. It's strong."
But it's also, yeah, that's right. It's also the first time we sort of, they tell us that something's up with Andor, with Cassian, in terms of like maybe his spirituality or his power or whatever it is. Like, obviously he's not a Force user, but he's got something. That lady sent something in him.
Yeah,
And what'd she say? He's a messenger.
yeah.
So is he a messenger because he delivered the plans in Rogue One? Is that it, or
I
what's
think
special
that's
about him? Is it because when she tells Bix about it, that convinces Bix that this is the chosen one sort of guy. He's the guy that'll take the rebels far, and they need him. So yeah, it's interesting. Like what sort of what did that healer see in Cassian, and what is it about him that makes him a messenger? Do you guys
Yeah,
think?
true.
She must have, I don't know, maybe she has visions too. But, because we've all seen Rogue One and there's knows, and we all know what happens, her saying that, it's like, suddenly she's talking about Rogue One ending, man. She knows that the sky, the rebels need, because Cassian dies, they don't get the plans out. That first Death Star's rolling around the galaxy, blowing up planets, man. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
how many powerful Jedis there are. That Death Star is that's the end game, man. And if not for all of these puzzle pieces falling into place, Cassian being there, that other guy, Urso, that left the little ports that you can shoot the missiles into, that goes directly into the nuclear reactor. If not for those guys, suddenly it'll be a completely different Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah. Hard up.
He's a good character. I'm guessing. I think he's up there with all the heroes that come on Star Wars. Do you think he's like better than Han Solo? Or how do you think? Where do you see him matching up with Han Solo? Because they're similar. They're both smugglers, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't see Han Solo.
They're both pilots. I guess Han Solo's a better pilot.
Probably. Yeah, I think he is. But I think Cassian's more, like he's very calculating, and he's paranoid as shit, bro. Like, there's not much that can get past him. He's always looking out for the in game, always looking for an exit route, that type of thing. It's like a secret agent on steroids.
Oh, he's a faithful rebel soldier. If you compare him to Han Solo became a general, I think. But then Empire Strikes Back, he tried to leave. He said, "Oh, I'll take my money and go and take off." Oh man, part of us.
Yeah,
unreliable.
He wasn't even part of the rebellion.
And he wanted to be part of it.
By the time Star Wars comes around and you get introduced to Han Solo, like all of the stuff's already happened and the Empire's already well established. The Emperor, everyone knows, is an evil bastard. But Han Solo's not part of the rebellion. He's still smuggling. He's still trying to make money, trying to get his ship back. All that sort of stuff.
Dealing with the crime lords like Jabba. All right.
It's funny because the politics of it all. So it's all come to a head now. Mon has to go. She's too dangerous for her to stay in the Senate. She has to go and help the rebels on Yavin.
Yep.
But I want to see what happens to Luthen there, because he doesn't show up in any other Star Wars stuff. So I assume he's gonna die. But he's a character that's vital for how the rebellion starts. Because we talked about it last week, Eric? Like that guy, he's the break the eggs to make an omelet kind of guy. Like he's a big picture guy. He's playing chess, right? He'll sacrifice 10 to save 1,000, or for the cause. Like he was sacrificed to keep the cause. So,
And
I wanted to ask. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this since you're a Warriors fan, Bob. If Lutheran was the Warriors coach, what kind of coach do you think he would be?
So he'd be no nonsense, that guy. But the thing is that he looks like the kind of guy that would sacrifice your best players to win a game and then worry about the aftermath later.
Yeah.
Coach, I can't do it. So my arm's breaking. You better get out there and give me another 20 meters. You better get out there, break your other arm. But yeah, he's definitely, he reminds me of, is it what's that guy on Game of Thrones, the big like butter dude with the bald head? He's the guy that everyone whispers to him, and he gets all these rumors and he holds on to all that information.
Yeah. I know.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot his name. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's in like the King's Council and stuff. I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah,
his
yeah.
name too. The eunuch guy. Anyway, that's who Luther reminds me of, because he's got his bugs everywhere, listening in to everyone, getting all this information, using that information to his advantage. In the meantime, he's pretending to be some antique, fancy pants guy on Coruscant, and it's like this guy is book away. He's leading this double life to fund the fact that he's helping rebels and he's positioning, playing chess, like you say, but still looking like he's part of that aristocrat type life on Coruscant, and like, oh, not me.
Yeah.
It's Bocco.
He's positioned himself pretty well in Coruscant too, eh? Like where he's got his ear to the ground, listening to all the politics that's happening there, so he kind of knows what's going on. Maybe
it also makes sense too, because you got the rebel forces trying to create an army, making an army, and all meeting at Yavin. There's no leader there. The leaders are still in Coruscant. So there has to be a time when someone has to go down, and someone has to reveal that we're not part of this and we're part of the rebellion. I'm out. And they probably drew a short straw in this. Maybe Lutheran's not the guy, man. I ain't going down to Yavin, man. I'm staying up here, man. Mon, you go down. And he probably positioned that way to happen.
Yeah.
Like he probably made up his mind. I'm not going down there, man. Look how they're living. Living in the trees.
The truth, these last 3 episodes of the Rebel Alliance, they're starting to look like the Rebel Alliance from the movies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like this, it's really starting to look like them. But for the past episodes, it's just like it looked like a mess. So this was like, especially when is it William? When he's walking through
Ghorman.
Yeah, when he's getting dropped off and he goes to Cassian's and Bex's hut, and he's walking his way through the camp. I was like, "Fuck!" It looks just like the original, from the movies. So I was like, "Man, that's pretty cool." It's getting there. It's finally getting there. Everything's coming together.
What it also does, it shows you how the rebels sort of started. Like, they were an army already, sort of, in Star Wars, but you kind of get to see that, man, there's a lot of dodgy elements that came into the Rebel Alliance. There was mercenaries, there was gunrunners, thugs, thieves, and they needed these kind of guys to come in. Like, hey, we need to know the pirate lanes to go and smuggle all our stuff. That was an element that made up part of that initial force of the rebels. You see Saw Gerrera come in those early episodes, and dude's ruthless, man. He's like, yeah, so can you do this? Yeah, bang, bang, this guy, he's been transmitting. I'm like, voila, kills that guy straight away. So suddenly,
and these are guys that don't even don't even survive after Yavin.
Yeah, that's right.
They died on record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smashed up Jeddah.
So like you said, Eric, like they don't see the fruits of their labor, eh? Which is probably sad, but
yeah.
But there's one character I like, is that girl that works for Luthen. Like she's tough,
secretary.
Is it Kaylin or something? Kayla or something?
Yeah, Kayla.
She looks after the shop.
Yeah, she's a cool character.
Yeah, she's pretty badass, eh? So Buckle is in Star Wars, so he shows up and he's taken over Jimmy Smith's part. Bail Organa,
Yeah,
like,
Brett.
yeah, Benjamin Brett. Oh, Buckle, he's in Star Wars, but we know he dies because he dies on Ogeron, right? When in Star Wars when they blow it up. But then I realized, like, if you go back to Star Wars in that scene when they blow up the planet, man, shouldn't Leia been screaming like my dad, my family?
Dad, Mom.
She doesn't really, eh?
Because that's
think
the
they should,
time where George Lucas hasn't connected the dots yet.
He hasn't connected the dots, man. He sort of
He just
brushes it off. He said,
There's heaps of things you look back at. Help me, Ben Kenobi. You're my only hope. Who is this? Obi-Wan doesn't recognize R2-D2. Like, what are you talking about? It's only he was there with you on Phantom Menace, bro.
predictions. What's gonna happen next week?
Oh man, there's a lot, because it's 3 episodes. The Empire's definitely gonna get, they're gonna keep on joining Ghorman until they get the mineral, and I'm guessing the planet will start to rupture. So maybe for the planet Ghorman, the Ghorman people need to be evacuated somehow, and probably that might be the next mission for the Rebel Alliance to get those people out.
I was
'Cause
kind
they
of
just-
disappointed we didn't see any spiders. Those spiders,
We did see one, but they don't. I don't think they're big.
Hmm.
Because we saw one spider, it was in like a glass orb,
Yeah.
and it was pretty small. So I was thinking they were big ones, like the size of a minivan. But if they're that big, I don't think we're going to see them unless they show them in the next couple of episodes. But yeah, that's my guess. I'm guessing they might try and the Empire will carry on with their mission, get the material that they need for the Death Star. Yeah, they might have to try and evacuate those people. Amongst all of that, they have Didra trying to figure out what happened to Cyril. And I don't know what's Luthien up to. Because we know Mon carries on is still at Yavin.
Hmm.
And maybe Cassian gets another mission, who knows? Because Vex is not around anymore, so... And William's out for the count, his leg's fucked up. So maybe it's been another year before it heals. Another year skip.
I wonder if we'll see the Empire dissolve the Senate. Actually see it. We'll actually see it in the episode.
That'd be
See how
good to see.
See how that plays out.
Well, because these are the last 3 episodes, right? Until the end of the season.
Hmm.
So we might see that.
So it looks like it's going to be the last episode will be right behind Rogue One.
Is this the last season for Andor?
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
we are at the end point. It looked pretty close to because Cassian was made captain. It's pretty cool how they were turning the droid on, and he gets the gun, and then the guys behind him are like, kind of following him, like, oh, the man,
Mm.
like this guy, showing you some leadership qualities already.
Because that's the thing, That's the thing with Cassian, His character arc is, will he be the leader that Luthen wants him to be in the end? And I think you're going to see that soon enough.
Yeah.
We'll probably get that in these last 3 episodes. Or maybe Luthen dies and Cassian sort of takes over. He becomes... He gets Luthen's mentality moving forward. Because if you remember him on Rogue One, he kills a guy straight away in the first scene that tries to help him.
Bro, that whole scene with him trying to get Moff out of there. Fuck, I was like freaking out when he killed that lady. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I didn't, probably the timing of it, but man, it was just like straight up bang.
So he's there, He's there now, He'll do what it takes to win, or he'll do what it takes to make sure his mission is a success.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on with some of these characters, like especially the characters like Luthen, the girl that works for him, and
Val.
even Val. They're sort of gone past the point of, you know what, we're in this war now. We need to win, so we'll do whatever it takes to win. It's not about I think it's more than just there's a battle between us and the Empire. It's just now we gotta win. There's no other choice. There's no other option.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you know
I
what I mean,
think
like
Luthen's probably going to die in the next 3 episodes, and that
Mm.
I think will serve as the catalyst to fully convert Cassian to the rebel cause. Because at the moment he's kind of just doing stuff to try and keep him and Bix safe.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the Empire, so he'll do these things to try and undermine them. But he's still not all with the cause, whereas Bix is more about the cause. He's just like, no, we're just doing this for us. It's just us against the world.
Mm.
And now that Bix is gone, I think the next 3 episodes you're probably going to get some sort of conflict happen between him and Luthen, I reckon. And maybe Luthen will try and get him to do something, and he might disagree, and then Luthen will go off and get killed trying to achieve that mission. And then he'll be like, I should have gone. This is my place. And then maybe that's the bridge now that he crosses to fully fledged rebel captain guy, and that's I think that's still left to happen, his journey, because he just lost Bix at the end of that last episode, and he's kind of stepping into the shoes of captain, but reluctantly, still not fully sold on the idea of the rebellion, and so something big has to happen for him to fully come across. And I reckon Luthen will probably die. We'll probably see him and the droid develop a bit of a relationship, because they were pretty chummy in Rogue One. So
yeah, and the captain kind of thing of him around him as well in Rogue One too. He was a restricted captain.
I expect a time jump as well. So maybe 1 year before the Battle of Yavin, a time jump. So yeah, exciting time. All right, boys, that's us, man. Let's wrap this up. Just go. Any last words? Start here.
Yeah, just can't wait to see the next episode. It'll be Ned's finale for Andor. It's a shame this Andor's finishing, but it's good too. It's good. It needs to. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed the series. So yeah, I can't wait for next week.
Nice.
Yeah, me too, bro. Super enjoying Andor. It's a change of pace from Skeleton Crew. Like I thought Skeleton Crew, I wasn't completely sold when I saw the first few episodes of that. I was like, who are these annoying children? that main kid is quite annoying. In the end, they kind of sort of redeem themselves, where the story sort of links to the rest of the universe. But it's good to have an Andor, a more adult content, more mature. It's way better storytelling, and you get to see what's actually happening behind the scenes as the universe build around the stories that we already know. So yeah, it's exciting to watch this series unfold.
Yeah, I think they can make better movies from these kind of TV shows.
Exactly. I hope this influences future Star Wars writers, and I hope it influences Lucasfilm or Disney, who now owns it, to think about how they could take these Star Wars stories on in the future. And I hope it's not like one of these things where they, let's take a part in the timeline and just focus on that and do an Andor sort of story without doing the main.
Few of them sort of running at the same time, but from different periods.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Skeleton Crew is different. Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Ahsoka and Mandalorian probably similar time frame, but Boba Fett, I don't know if he's going to get another book, because come on, Timmy Morrison.
Yeah, they got a good job at making these timelines and filling the gaps. I know there's a major gap between, I guess, the prequel for Force Awakens. Like, there's heaps of story there that probably needs to be told. Like, what happens to, how does Kylo Ren in those Knights of Ren? Who is that? How does that start? But they'll probably do that in the future. But man, it's an excellent show. Great writing. I'm enjoying it, and I hope this influences future Star Wars content. I think they need to go this kind of direction, or actually cater for us, because I think us being Star Wars fans from day one, we need to get more stuff like that.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Thanks, boys, for jumping on. Thanks everyone for listening. Catch us. Remember to like and to subscribe the channel 135 on YouTube. We'll catch you guys next week. All right. Thanks, boys.
All right. Thank you, bro.
Have a good
Sure.
week. Bye.